Hi, I'm Neil Hermes and welcome to my weekly bird wrap, where I have a story today about how many birds there are, how aggression is measured in birds from the country into the city, and a rediscovery of a fabulous bird in New Guinea. Hi, I'm Neil Hermes and welcome to my weekly bird wrap. One of the great stories of the week has been the rediscovery of the pheasant pigeon in Ferguson Island in Papua New Guinea. Now, most people would never have heard of the pheasant pigeon of Papua New Guinea, but it's very exciting for the Lost Bird Research Group out of the American Bird Conservatory in the States. They go around the world looking for birds that haven't been seen for a long time, and this particular bird hadn't been seen since the 1860s. And what they did was they went to a very remote part of Papua New Guinea, an island off the east coast, which is rarely visited by birdwatchers. And in difficult country to go birdwatching, they set up remote sensing cameras. When they developed the shots and had a look at the pictures that they got, they were amazed. There was a bird that hadn't been recorded since 1863, the pheasant pigeon, which is a large pigeon shaped a bit like a pheasant, there living still on Ferguson Island. So it's a great story that's come out of Papua New Guinea and out of Cornell University, the work being done to rediscover these birds. Now the challenge will be to see that this bird is actually maintained, that it doesn't become any rarer, and that we understand some of the issues that this bird may be facing in the wild. But because it's hung on for this long without being found, perhaps there is hope that this bird will continue to survive in Ferguson Island for a long time to come. My second story this week is about how many birds are there. Sometimes people ask me, okay Neil, so how many birds are there? What's the most common bird in the world? And it won't come as any surprise, but the most common bird in the world is the domestic chicken. There's probably 30 billion chickens in the world, and it is the most common bird. After that, we're talking about birds that are in the billion class, and different lists will have different birds in the list, but the quelea, the weaver birds of Africa, the mourning dove, the American robin is up there with several 100 million birds known. But there's a couple of lists. I'll put up on my website some of the lists available with some of the various numbers, but it's interesting to see how many species there are that we estimate that there are over 100 million birds in the world in those particular species. My last story today is about aggression in birds. Now, it's been known for a while that birds in city areas tend to be a bit more aggressive than their country cousins. I don't know whether these Australian ravens that you might be able to hear in the background are being particularly aggressive, but they're certainly worried about something up there in the trees behind me. And they may be trying to keep away other ravens or potentially an eagle from near their nests. But aggression in birds is something that's been recognised for a long time. But what we're wondering is whether or not there's different levels of aggression between city and country birds. So what the researchers did in the UK and in Turkey is they set up some experiments with urban birds and with country birds. In the country, if you play the sounds of traffic noise, the country birds become more aggressive. And it's not quite understood why this is the case, but it seems that what's happening is that the sound of the background noise is disturbing the ability for those birds to be able to project their calls, and so they're then physically becoming more aggressive and keeping other birds away. In the city, the same species, the birds are quite used to the background noise, and if you increase the amount of background noise, the birds tend to become quieter and wait for the noise to go away because they're used to it. Interesting study in Turkey and in the UK looking at the aggression of individual birds relative to the sort of background sounds that they're used to. Look, I hope you've enjoyed those couple of stories that I've brought to you today. If you have enjoyed them, check out some other stories on my YouTube channel. Check out my website with a whole range of other nice stories. And I've just brought out the 1923 touring program, which includes a whole range of fabulous trips, both around Australia and to Vanuatu, Norfolk Island and Papua New Guinea. So check out those trips and see whether you'd like to do a little local trip, perhaps in Canberra, a trip around New South Wales to see some of our Aussie birds, or perhaps a trip further away. Thanks very much for watching.